Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Hasbro Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is Marvel's Prowler. Advanced equipment and skilled marksmanship make Aaron Davis the formidable criminal known as Prowler. Before we have a look at Prowler, let's figure out how tall the figure stands. We'll put the tape measure right to there. I know, you're screaming, hey, you're not measuring up to the top of his head. No, I'm not actually. Instead of measuring it to the top of his head, I measure it to the top of his cape, which brings the figure to a very impressive 6.5 inches, or if you're interested in centimeters, I know I am, 16.6 centimeters is how tall this figure stands. Or to do one better, let's have a look at him next to the other two figures that we've had a look at so far, and the only ones I've been able to find so far from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Here on the left, we've got Miles Morales. Here on the right, we've got Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know, I'm looking at the three figures, I'm scratching my head, not literally, figuratively, and I'm thinking to myself that all three figures look like they're all from three different figure lines. They don't look like, I don't get a continuation, that feel like Miles Morales is the same line as Spider-Man, is in the same line as the Prowler here. They all sort of feel like they're from three separate figure lines. Maybe I'm the only one thinking that. For his accessories, Prowler gets these kind of flame slippers, as best as I could describe it. In fact, actually looking at them, they look like the face of Mr. Pringles. The guy on the Pringles can, the eyes, the mustache, even like a little curly mustache. But these plug on to the bottoms of Prowler's feet, and you can't simply just plug them on any which way that you want. No, there's rules, man. There's rules you got to follow. There's a square peg, there's a circular peg. That tells us exactly the way that you're going to plug them into place. Looking at the underside of his feet, sure enough, you're greeted to a square and a circular peg. So you're going to go ahead and plug it in this way. And you're going to go ahead and plug it this way. I was seeing if anyone was paying attention. You got to flip it this way. There's rules, man. You got to follow the rules. And those plug into place. I suppose I get the point. I get what they're going with. They're getting the fact that, of course, he's got all this advanced technology, one of which being jet-propelled rocket boots. Still, though, I don't know, the execution of it, I can't help but feel like he's standing on top of something, or he's got these kind of gummy kind of stilts. It just doesn't work as well for me. That, and for the fact that looking at it, I keep thinking like I'm looking at Mr. Pringles. Maybe if they had added just a little bit of white paint here so that this would look separate from this would look a little bit more like smoke. But still, because they keep all the color the same, this translucent orange, it doesn't work as well for me, I have to admit. Still, this could be something that could easily find a light of day with a future Iron Man figure, because, I mean, you know, this sort of idea could work well with an Iron Man. I guess a more cartoonier Iron Man. We'll just go ahead and pop those off. We'll put those to the side. We'll have a look at Prowler. Prowler! Not a character you ever would think would make figure form. Can't remember the last time we got ourselves a Prowler. Of course, there's the Marvel Legends Prowler, but prior to that, when was the last time we got Prowler? Of all things, Prowler is the villain. I guess he's one of the villains or main villain, I don't know. But we have Prowler here looking passable. He sort of is made up of these elements where looking at him, certain things don't work for me. Maybe I have to see it in the physical medium. Not that I'm going to see some guy walking down the street dressed like Prowler, but maybe I have to see this in physical watching, like a movie or the cartoon, to get the feel of why this looks the way it does. Ultimately, we have a guy who is a masked villain, and he's got this crown cape, which I have to admit just does look a little on the ridiculous side. It doesn't also work well that all the colors blend so close together. You've got this metallic green, and you've got this metallic purple, which are different colors, but somehow combining the two colors side by side. These two neighbors look like they're just blending together. In fact, looking at them from the distance, it almost as if it looks like you're looking at a figure that's purple that simply just has light reflecting off the sides of him. But I guess that's traditional Prowler colors. I just do find like the colors blend a little bit too close together. For his head sculpt, it's okay. I don't really know what expectation I would have had for a Prowler, but still, I find his head sculpt is just okay. It almost looks like something I would have expected to find from like a 90s Toy Biz Spider-Man, where they had very unique looking flat faces. You can go ahead and take the cape off if you wanted to. We'll just pop off the head like that, slide the cape right off, throw it to the ground, and never talk about it again until you realize Sniffles the dog is going over, then gnawing away at it, and you have to kind of shoo the dog away. Come on, come on. That's Prowler's cape. Like I said, the masked head sculpt is okay. There's not really a whole lot to write home about. It obviously serves what purpose it needed to be. It's one of those masks he just has loosely draped over top of his face, so it sort of fits that. It's not a very long mask by any stretch of the imagination. And you can see how it just kind of bunches up at the bottom there. It's got a peg hole in the back, which technically would peg into this sort of ridiculous looking cape. It doesn't really necessarily need that because like the peg from the head is plugging everything in place. Up at the top we've got the Prowler logo, which is similar but not quite the same purple as his mask. I don't know if it was supposed to be the same color, but it clearly isn't. He's got some nice sculpted details there on the gauntlets. Let's talk about the positives, shall we? I know it kind of sounded like we've been ripping on Prowler this whole time. Some nice detailing here. It gets lost because it's all purple, and then it's purple, and then it's more purple. You got a little bit of pink happening there just to break it up, but even like the pink isn't the cleanest. It's just slopped right on there. This side isn't as bad as this side. Got little areas where the paint's kind of carried over. And then he's got the big boots. Big old boots. He's lanky, but he's certainly not as lanky as Spider-Man. That character was very lanky. But some nice detailing there also on the boots. Again, like he's a nice looking figure, but I don't know. Maybe it's just for the fact it's Prowler, I just don't get as excited for. And if you want to then take the cape, pop it back on his head. There we go. Or on his shoulders. Put the head down. The cape sort of just kind of cuts off the bottom half of his face. His poor little head, as bad as I think it may be, gets then cut off by having all this extra cape at the top there. It's also ironic, too, that this guy he has all this advanced technology, advanced equipment, but really, except for the rocket sleds, these little propelled Pringles slippers, he doesn't really have anything else. They tease you with open hands, but those open hands don't do anything because there's nothing for him to hold on to. Sigh. Poseability on this guy, if you can reach deep into the cape, you can rotate his head all the way around and it hinges up and down. Arms hinge out. You can rotate those all the way around. Bend at the elbow. You can rotate the lower forearm. And you can bend the legs back and forth. What's interesting, though, is about Prowler, if you flip the cape up, he doesn't have the big boxy buttocks that the other Spider-Man have. So as a result, you can go a little bit further, a little bit further back. And Spider-Man has, well, Prowler has this, which would then be funny then if you go ahead. Oh, I amused myself. So you can go ahead then and just attach the little rocket, the rocket powers, little rocket propelled. Flip it around. There's rules after all. Plug it into place. And look at that. He can propel himself across the room. That's probably not the effect that they're going with, but that's the effect I'm going to have because, well, it's Prowler. We got to have a little bit of fun at Prowler's expense. Certainly credit for the fact that Prowler is the villain in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse so far. Maybe we may get other villains, but for the time being, the only villain hitting the pegs right now that I can find is Prowler. It's not a bad-looking figure. I feel like the head sculpt, though, is dated. Looking at it, I feel like I'm looking at a Toy Biz Spider-Man figure from, like, the early 90s. The rest of the figure has somewhat current sculpting, current articulation. which is funny that we would then go back a few years, back a few decades, giving us standard swivels in the legs. We're supposed to be moving forward with progression, not moving backwards. But despite for the fact that he only has standard swivels in the legs, not a bad looking Prowler. Again, just strange that we're getting Prowler as a character. Can't remember the last time we got a Prowler. I've probably, if this is a drinking game, imagine the number of times I've said Prowler over the course of this video. Anybody let me know down below. In the meantime, if you guys are interested in picking up this one or any of the other Spider-Verse figures that we've had a look at, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse figures are now hitting store shelves. I just found these at Walmart, and the price point on these were about $12, about $12.99. Not a bad pickup. Still, it's Prowler. I don't get overly excited for Prowler, but I don't know. Maybe they're going to do something cool with Prowler. They're not. They're not going to do anything cool with Prowler. They're just going to give him gadgets. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. You just call him Gadget Man and just give him a whole bunch of gadgets. Anyways, today we were, like I said, having a look at the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This was Prowler, which I might also add had Marvel's Prowler in the front of it. We have to brand that. Property, after all. That's property. Property. Make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below. Certainly more videos will be coming your way. And hey, now, while you're at it, why don't you swing over, come on, go swing over to the homepage. Check out the other videos that are on there. Sure, of course, you can hit the bell notification, and that goes a long way, I guess. It really doesn't. Bell notifications apparently doesn't fix the problem, but you can head over to the main page and check out all the other videos that I've done up to this point. Future videos will be found there, and previous videos. Is that how it works? Yeah, that's how it works. Past videos, future videos, and beyond will all be found in the video section on the homepage, so why not swing by and check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.